Well, good evening. We are going to have an episode for you guys, and Gooch will be with us here in a few minutes. We're going to talk recap of week 7. We're going to preview week 8. We're going to talk about McCole Hardman. We're going to talk about the Chiefs bringing Mike Pennell back, and a whole host of other things, including your guys' questions in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that intro.
Y'all ready for them Chiefs? Y'all ready for them Chiefs?
All right, so it'll be a few minutes with Gooch. He's always doing his work stuff, but we're gonna start off probably each week, and we're just gonna kind of do this by the numbers thing that was doing last time. We'll probably just keep doing it, and so. Yeah, I'm going to just start bringing up stuff and we're going to go by the numbers here and we'll look at various things that have to do with the Chiefs specifically, maybe players, maybe offense, maybe defense. So we're just going to kind of hit it here a little bit. And yeah. So let's see, where should we start at? There are so many things on here that we can look at. I don't know how long Gooch is going to be, but we'll look at some things here until he gets here or until the chat really gets warmed up here. Going to start with looking at the total quarterback EPA, that's expected points added through week 7 here. And so, yeah, we're used to seeing Patrick Mahomes number 1 in just about everything here. But of course, we know how this season has started with the receivers and everything. And so we're not really that surprised by seeing that Mahomes is number 2 right now, but he's definitely making his way up. And so, hey, we're going to celebrate that one. Let's go on here. We have some more positive quarterback stuff on here as well. Let's see. How about we look at this next one here. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I'm sure you guys have seen it, but we'll look at it anyway. We're going to celebrate it. And that one will be Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce here. Part of the quarterback touchdown or tight end touchdown club here. They are number 4 behind Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Phillip Rivers, Antonio Gates, and Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham here. Now, one of the things I noted in a tweet about this is Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates played together for 15 seasons. Those 89 touchdowns were accumulated over 15 seasons that they played together. Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham, I'm doing this off the top of my head because I don't have my tweet here, but I want to say it was 5 years into Drew Brees' season or his career. He played with Jimmy Graham for 5 seasons. 5 seasons exactly. So Patrick Mahomes and Travis are 6 games over that right now. But Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham played together for 5 seasons. Antonio Gates, Phillip Rivers, again, 15 seasons. So it took them a bit of work. Now, Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, if I recall correctly, it was 10 seasons they played together between the Patriots and the Buccaneers. They were together with the Buccaneers for 2 years. Rob Gronkowski retired one of the years that Tom Brady was with the Patriots, if I recall correctly. Again, I don't have it in front of me. But so those 90 were through, I want to say 10 years, something like that. But Tom Brady, maybe 11 years. But Tom Brady had already been in the NFL, I want to say 10 seasons before Rob Gronkowski was in the NFL, which is important for this because you guys will notice, with the exception, I think Antonio Gates was drafted the year before Philip Rivers, if I recall correctly. Outside of that, and again, that's only 1 year difference, but outside of that, the other tight ends, Rob Gronkowski and Jimmy Graham, came into the NFL after the tight end or the quarterback that they were with. Travis Kelce entered the NFL in 2013, which means that he was in the NFL already for 5 seasons before Patrick Mahomes was starting. Okay. To me, this is a big deal because we know that quarterbacks are going to have a longer longevity than tight ends are. It's just the nature of the tight end position. Okay. So each one of these other quarterback tight end combinations have a huge advantage over Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce because of that fact. Travis was already a 5-year vet when Mahomes took over starting. Okay, that was not the case with any of these other tight ends. Not for Rob Gronkowski, not for Antonio Gates. He was in the league for 1 year. Okay, Jimmy Graham, none of those three. They all had the advantage of their tight end having the possibility for a lot more longevity than what Travis and Pat are going to have together. So if Patrick and Travis can hit 89 or 90 touchdowns, it's going to be a hell of a lot more impressive simply because Travis is already like 34 and they've only played together for 5 seasons. Basically ages 20, 28 through 34 if we go ahead and count this whole rest of the year. So, it's not quite the same ball game as these guys, but nonetheless, they're going to pass Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham. It would be amazing if they can get to 89 or 90 touchdowns, but everything is against them. Again, Philip Rivers and Antonio Gates had 15 seasons to get to 89. So it seems like a long shot at this point. And Rob Gronkowski was fresh in the NFL and Tom Brady was already his team starter. So it is what it is, but nonetheless, it's kind of that's kind of a cool one there. And like I say, I got plenty of these, and we'll go over a few of them until Gooch can join us here, or if you guys really just want to start hitting the chat here. But hey, I'm going to tell you guys, I spent time lining these up, and so I hope this is fun for you guys as much as it is for me to just see how some of the cool aspects of the team. This is a tweet about the Chiefs' active win streak versus their opponents. Of course, everybody knows 16 wins for the Broncos, 8 against the Jags, 8 against whatever Washington is going to call themselves each year, 5 against the Browns, and then 5 against the Raiders. Not a whole lot to talk about with that one. Let's see. Let's throw up another Mahomes one. Mahomes has some pretty cool ones going on right now. And this is one of them. I get this added in here. By the numbers, Patrick Mahomes' last 3 games. Now, it says 1 hour ago. This is not from an hour ago. This is a day or two ago. But his last 3 games, those are his completion percentages. He's the first quarterback in NFL history to complete 75% of his passes 3 games in a row with 40 attempts each game. So other quarterbacks have done this with less than 40 attempts, but he's the only one with that volume, right? With that kind of volume, 40 attempts or more to complete at least 75% of his passes. And he's also the first quarterback in NFL history to complete 75% of his passes in 3 games in a row with 30 completions each game, at least 30 completions each game. So, we don't necessarily know Mahomes for his accuracy numbers, but in this case, in the last 3 games, if anything, if it tells you how special things have been, especially that Mahomes and Travis connection they have going on. This is, what did I do? Sorry about that. Clicked on the wrong thing. You guys were almost going to get to listen into a press conference. But yeah, really cool stuff that Mahomes is doing right now. And again, I can just keep throwing up Mahomes stats here all day long. We could do a whole episode just on where things are at right now with the Mahomes stats. Get this added. Most 400-yard passing games before turning the age of 30 in NFL history. Number 1 on there with Dan Marino. He's not 30 yet. He's still got a little bit of time, but he's tied with Dan Marino, number 1 with 11. So, again, another cool one. Let's see. One more sticking with Mahomes in that area here for us. All right. Most games with 400 plus passing yards and 4 plus passing touchdowns in their careers. Peyton Manning had 8. Dan Marino had 7. Patrick Mahomes moved into third place, tied with Drew Brees with 5. I hope you guys understand how special that is, given his age right now. He has time to obliterate this number. And so, even I think the cool thing is we all know this offense right now has looked fairly out of sync, right? It's looked kind of crazy. We've all noticed that Mahomes doesn't trust all of his receivers. And so, this is kind of a big thing here. So, let's see. I think we might have talked about that one last week. Going to throw up some Super Bowl stuff. And then I'm going to pause here in a moment here after throw up a couple Super Bowl things just for the fun of it, because that's why we play the game, right? For Super Bowls. So this one is on Super Bowl chances. Super Bowl champion chances. This is after week 7, and it's based on 10,000 simulations of the season, or in this case, like the rest of the season. And by far and away, the Chiefs are number 1 on here at nearly 30%, with the Eagles at 17%. And then the 49ers are the third closest with less than half the percentage of the Chiefs. And then from there, it's just a huge drop down to the Bills, the Cowboys, the Ravens, Lions, Dolphins, and Jags, which this all seems pretty legit to me. But yeah, this is one of those cool by the numbers that we have here. Let me see if I can find my other one that I had really quick that had to do with the playoffs. All right. throw this one up really quick. All right. So, DVOA playoff odds updated with current Super Bowl favorites. Chiefs, number one there at 23.3%. Then you have the 49ers at second, Ravens at third, Eagles at fourth, Lions at fifth, Dolphins at sixth, and the Bills at seventh. So a lot of the same or familiar names there in a little bit of a different order. And so that is what it is. I have more of these, but I'm going to stop and take a look at the chat here. We'll get talking, and if we have time or whatever, we'll get back to some more of those. So I got plenty of those, and Gooch says he's in a conference call. He'll be with us shortly. Gooch always has the cape on. Holly, good to see you. Holly is actually the channel moderator. Holly, it doesn't look like you have that power. What happened? Anyway, Gooch is at least in the chat, listening to By the Numbers. Holly says, wow, what a huge drop off in touchdowns between Rivers and Gates and Breeze and Graham. Yeah, but again, Breeze and Graham were together 5 seasons. Rivers and Gates were together 15 seasons. So the numbers are not even quite twice as much and 3 times as many seasons together. So that's a huge part of it. Whether you talk about individual stats or even combo stats like these, and for me, I think it's important in any kind of like conversation like this, especially even in like GOAT conversations, it always comes up, how do you wait for like the longevity argument? Some people really weight longevity like heavily. Other people are more like, how high was your high? And so, it's kind of everybody's flavor. I don't discount longevity because I do think there's a place for it where it becomes, pretty awesome. Like when you go, I know we're football here, but like especially baseball for me, just because of the hand-eye coordination involved. When you look at guys like Satchel Paige and Julio Franco and Nolan Ryan, and you look at some of the amazing things they did after 40, like to me, yeah, I place a little bit more weight in that. But I still look at kind of style things. Like, does Patrick Mahomes really need to play as long as Tom Brady does? If he gets the same amount of rings, or if he even gets close, does he really need to play to the same age? Like, to me, it's no, because Patrick Mahomes has already shown the ability to do so many different things that Tom Brady physically could never do, to where, longevity only accounts for so much. Gooch and other people say, did this person's play like change the game? And so like that's a big thing for me. Listen, Phillip Rivers was a great quarterback, except for when he would throw interceptions to us, which was great for us. Antonio Gates was an amazing tight end, right? Maybe one of my top 5 or 10 favorite tight ends of all time. No question about it. But being able to play together for 15 years is a huge statistical advantage. So all I'm going to say there on that one. Jeremy's with us. Jeremy, good to see you. Daryl's with us as well. Scott's with us. Scott, the Talents, is in a conference call, but he'll be here at some point. He'll drop in like Santa Claus and bless us with the present of his presence. So Holly says, surprised the Bills are so low, but given recent years, I guess not. Not sure which one that was in reference to, but yeah, I think I think losing Matt Milano was huge for the Bills. I think they have a great coaching staff though, so they can overcome that to an extent, but you know, it is what it is. They also lost Tre'Davious White. I still think Milano is a bigger blow for them because of all the things he could do at the linebacker position. And that team's already been without Tre'Davious White for basically a season, little over a season. So anything they got out of him like this year, they'd already seen what life was like without him. Um, and so, that's kind of my thinking. But, Milano is a hell of a linebacker. And I think that was a loss. But I also think they'll figure things out offensively. James Cook is coming along. I think they'll figure out how to utilize their two tight end sets. And it's always possible they're holding things back, right? Like we use that excuse in Kansas City, or explanation, if you want to, however you want to say it, of Andy holding back. So, what's to say that Ken Dorsey isn't holding back, and we see more from them. But I think you have to see Josh Allen uh, be a smarter player, stop being so aggressive. He's kind of playing, there's too many games where he's playing kind of like those one halves that we've seen Patrick Mahomes have against the Bengals a couple times now. Like Josh Allen's doing that for like games. And he's throwing his body around in a really stupid way. So, but that's just my opinion on there. Guys, if you have any questions, we can get to them. I can go back to by the numbers. Like I have a bunch of stuff, so I can just keep going until Gooch gets with us. I got stuff on the defense. I got stuff on George Karlaftis. Like I was gonna say you name it, and I've got it, but there's a good chance I probably could not have it. But yeah, I'll throw up some George Karlaftis here really quick, because I think at some point people outside of Kansas City are going to have to recognize how good he is. George Karlaftis, since he became a rookie, so from the beginning of his NFL career, has led all NFL players in batted passes. This from PFF, 10 times, causing incompletions by himself. So, like every time I see various George Karlaftis stats, like I'm always happy, because I think he's so overlooked. I don't know if that's necessarily true in our fan base, but I think even so a little bit, right? Like especially gets overshadowed with Chris Jones. But and I think he's going to even more with Amenahue back from his suspension. It's kind of hard to say back, since that was his first game with the Chiefs. But speaking of Amenahue, I have one for Amenahue too. In his first game as a Kansas City Chief, Charles Amenahue racked up 4 pressures, 2 quarterback hits, a sack, and a pass defense that resulted in an interception on Sunday. Basically, the rich get richer, right? Because our defense has already looked amazing. Like, ooh, do I dare do this one? Do I risk the possibility of the NFL doing something on here? What if I don't hit play? Maybe if I don't hit play on it, we'll be good here. Okay. What you're seeing here is this is Mecole Hardman's punt return, his big punt return that he had. This is the defense out here. Okay. I'm doing this off of memory here, but uh, here in the top corner, you have, I want to say that was Joshua Williams. Um, I believe it was Mike Dana. I know the guys who are out here. I'm not sure about the order, but Mike Dana, Matt Dickerson, Derek Noddy, um, right? Let's see. I'm forgetting somebody. Tershawn Wharton, George Karloftis, Leo Chanel, and then we have Drew Tranquil, Brian Cook, and Trent McDuffie. This was on the punt return. These were the guys blocking for McCole Hardman. All right, with the exception of Matt Dickerson, who gets his time, and you could quasi, Leo Chanel, um, and even Josh Williams, who comes in. He rotates with Jalen Watson, or I think it's kind of each game depending on the matchup, right? This is basically your starting defense on the punt return team. So I don't know if this was like, I don't know if Spags was like, maybe they'd fake it, or if this was like hey, this is our A team punt return team, and we're going to throw them out there and catch you guys off guard, or what. And I don't know that we've heard, did I say Spags? I meant Dave Tobe. I don't think we've heard from Tobe on this. At least I haven't heard anything from him, but yeah, that was the guys that were out there for that play. So the defense was even making an impact on special teams in this game, which was kind of funny to me. Let's see. I have more defensive stuff on here. How about our week 7 pressures leaders? Everything that we keep hearing is Chris Jones. Week 7 pressure leaders, Chris Jones, but right behind him with 6, George Karloftis, followed by Charles Omenihu, Mike Dana, Drew Tranquil, and Willie Gay and Tershawn Wharton there. So that was that, and this is Gooch. Gooch, how you doing?
I am well. Sorry about the tardiness. I am going to North Carolina tomorrow. So I had to make sure some hotel plans were finalized and all that kind of stuff. So I'm off saving the dominoes, one city at a time, man.
Yeah. Hey, Gooch, you're kind of, I don't want to say crackly, but it's kind of a little weird on my end anyway. I don't know about the rest of you guys. Can you guys hear Gooch loud and clear?
I just means I don't need to talk much. That's all.
Well, hey, listen, I already did a 30-minute monologue, so
I know I was bouncing back and forth in between, like on the phone and stuff, like trying to keep up to make sure I could have something to talk about when I got in. Oh, I'm a little quiet. How's that? Is that better?
We'll see. Scott, are you asking, or did this happen and I missed it? Frank to Seattle.
It happened. Well, he's got to pass a physical. But
Yeah.
apparently the Chiefs are offering him a spot on the practice squad to start, and he thought that was disrespectful. So
you know what? I think, yeah, I would agree. That is completely disrespectful to the guys on the practice squad to offer up one of their spots to Frank Clark.
To 2 guns. Oh, shoot. Oh, 2 guns.
So
that's fine. I think when you're in that kind of situation, and I know that other teams were interested, but he might realize that this might be close to time for him to bow out, and why not go out with the team that drafted you? That's what I would do. But who's to say? But if I was drafted by the Broncos or the Chiefs or whatever, and I played years somewhere else, won a couple championships, and I was getting close to the end of my career, at least the writing was on the wall, then I'd end with who I started. You know what I'm saying? Just to go out. Kind of a respect thing, I guess, a loyalty thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I think that, and I believe they probably did offer him a practice squad position, but you know, we talked about this last week. Like, where on the 53 do you play him? Because you knew you had Charles Omenihu coming back, and we all saw Sunday, like, he looked ready to go. Like, I don't think there's going to be much ramping up in his snaps, you know, coming over the weeks. Like, it's basically go out there. So a Minihue in the middle, right? You already have Mike Dana and George Karloftis that, you know, both of those guys can be in the middle. George Karloftis can be outside. You have FAU who's been getting time outside. Oh, by the way, we talked about this before. 4.5 of Chris Jones' 5.5 sacks have came from the edge position. So if you got George Karloftis inside outside, you have Tershawn Wharton, um, you know, you have Charles Omenihu, and you have Chris Jones. Like, who are you giving that time to, and why? And you know, we joked about it, and people keep saying bring him in to mentor. Like, why the hell do you need him to mentor? Like, you have Chris Jones there, right? You have one of the best defensive line coaches in the NFL. You have Brandon Staley, who, you know, who coached some studs with New England. So why do you need to bring in a Frank Clark to teach that swim move to half swim to reverse swim? Like, you know, I understand people liked his passion, but you know, is
See,
that passion going to be the same if he's on the practice squad?
here's the thing, Keith. They bring him back to teach the spin because 65% of the time it works every time. You know what I'm saying? So that's what he mentored, the spin move. That's, you know.
I think it might be about 35% of the time, but you know, hey, listen, it's nothing against Frank Clark. It's just, you know, you have to look at the roster as it is. You have to look at practice squads, and you know, it's kind of one of those things where I think as fans, sometimes we get caught up as, you know, the practice squad is kind of like your catch-all drawer that you have at home. You know, so if a player's not good enough for the 53, but you want to keep them around, you put them on the practice squad. You know, but I don't think that's necessarily the point. Like, when it came to our third quarterback, you know, and maybe even in the signing, bringing Mike Pennell back, who's now on our practice squad, who did really great as a run defender for us for a couple years or so, right? Like, right at the beginning, was he on the Super Bowl 54 team? I might have to Google that one.
I actually think he was.
And so, but you know, I think we just kind of look at it as just kind of a, okay, he's not good enough for the 53, but you know, we want some depth. We want to keep this guy around. So let's just put him on the practice squad. And then if we want him, you know, we got him there, type of thing. But Gooch, is that how the practice squad works?
I mean, it's so finicky. The practice squad is for people that you want to keep around. Hopefully, they'll improve and kind of a break glass in case of emergency type thing. You're just not. I mean, you're not paid a lot to be on the practice squad. I mean, Frank would have been because he would have signed a contract or whatever. But I mean, really, you fill in for certain players on the next team that you're facing. That's who you act like, and that's pretty much your niche. You know what I'm saying? Or to get you ramped up to come back to the 53. But we got way too many studs for Frank Clark. Like Frank Clark would be what? I think you did the count. Even if you count Mike Dana, he'd be what, 7th? You know what I'm saying? Do you need that? Yeah, I love Frank for what he did. Say about Tyreek Hill. Appreciate what he did. Praise him. Thanks for bringing a couple of titles to the kingdom. We wish you best of luck in all your future endeavors. Although you did sign that contract in Denver being stupid. I don't know what you were doing, but I'd have Chad Henne did if I was Frank Clark.
Yeah, and you know the other thing that I think we miss with the practice squad is, you know, one, I think the way that Veach at least uses it is kind of specialty players, right? Like you might have a guy like, you know, it might be like a Mike Pennell. You don't face that many teams that have a great run game, right? And so you don't necessarily want to take up a 53-man spot, you know, for 17 games. But when you can elevate a guy up to 3 times, then against those, you know, really good run teams, you know, I think that's when you see the value of, okay, we're going to bring this guy, you know, for this game, and then we're going to bring him up for this other game against this team that has a really good running, you know, game. And then when we get to the playoffs, it all resets. So, you know, we can basically bring him up every game of the playoffs and we'll be good type of deal. But the other thing is I think we miss the value of the scout team, right? We don't really think about the practice squad and its importance in being the scout team in a way, or at least drawing, you know, scout team players from the practice squad. You know, like I said, like, you know, I think it came out right. Chris Olakundo, dude, I always butcher his name, which is funny because usually I'm the one who knows everyone's name, but it's Oladokin, right? I think that's what it is. Like he was like the dual threat quarterback guy for the last year, you know, last year and this year on the practice squad for those scout team looks, right? We play Lamar, it's going to be Chris who's the scout team quarterback, you know, doing that. And I don't think he's the only person who's brought in and on the practice squad for just that type of thing, and I think we kind of miss that. And so you can't just say bring Frank Clark in, bring him in, you know, just put him on the practice squad. It's all good, because I think there's all those reasons. But I also think there's a factor where if you're a young guy, are you really going to be mentored by a guy who was on the practice squad? I don't think so.
I
Like,
mean,
what do you think, Gooch?
you can always flash the 2 rings. Like I know what it takes to get there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. Everybody, I think to be on the practice squad, you have to have a different type of mentality. You have to expect to be called up at some point, but then understand that you hold a job, even if it's a practice squad job, you hold a job that a lot of people don't hold. You know what I'm saying? So you're technically on an NFL team, maybe not on the 53, but if they win the Super Bowl because you're trying to develop, the team sees you as something that they want to try and develop and get better and want to keep you around maybe. You're on the practice squad. It's help prepare for upcoming games. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And think about this. If you're on the practice squad and they win the Super Bowl, you get a ring, baby, because you're a contributor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and rings are forever. Like, you may not be the one that makes hundreds of millions of dollars, but you know the one thing they can't take from you? Super Bowl champion in front of your name. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what is that worth?
Right.
You know? But also, too, I'm one of those people like, you know, backup quarterbacks make 7 to 10 million. I do that. Third string quarterbacks make about 2 million. I do that. Practice squad players make $700,000 to $800,000. Yep, I do that. You know what I'm saying? Without the okay, you have to go through the rigmaroles, the practice, and all that. You're not getting hit by 6'6" guys that weigh 350 pounds and run 4.5 40s like Chris Jones. every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? And still make a really good living. So I wouldn't have a problem with being on the practice squad. But I think somebody like Frank, who started in Seattle, came and started for us, won a couple rings, went to Denver, like McCole Hartman went to the Jets, played for 6 plays, and
I mean, I think they're a little bit different situations though, because if you're on the Jets, you have to be feeling pretty good at least about your playoffs, your playoff odds. But, think about how bad the Broncos have started, how horrible some of those losses are. And, you look at your team's record and you look at Kansas City's record, and it's kind of like, oh, well, yeah, we're not winning this division. So, any chance I had to stick it to the old team, it's not happening type of thing. Like he wanted out so bad from what I read is that he was like giving up, guarantees and giving up incentives or whatever to just get traded or released and get out of Denver.
can I reach into my petty bag for a second?
Go ahead.
Because some people are as petty as I am, and maybe they're not. But I imagine Frank went to Denver thinking, I'm going to get to sack Mahomes, and we're going to be competitive, and I'll get to talk my trash when we beat the Chiefs and this, that, and the other about how I was there and I helped them win the Super Bowl, and I came here and I stopped the losing streak and blah, 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 blah. And I would like to think that when he gave back his 1 point whatever $million so he get released, I like to call Brett Veach. And Brett Veach being the petty some gun that I would be like, nah, you went to the enemy. You are now persona non grata. We appreciate you. You can't come back here. So, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here.
Right.
But that's just me. I like to think that Beach hung up the phone after talking to his agent and like laughed and was like,
Yeah, I'd like to think the same thing as well. Be like, hey, remember when I asked you if you were willing to restructure this contract to make a reasonable amount of money? And you said no, that you'd already done it the last couple of years? Yeah.
The way I think that works, and I have to do some digging, but I think that 7.7, that's the dead cap, he still gets from the Chiefs, which is why he was willing to give that money back because the Chiefs still owed it to him. It wasn't on the team, which is why it was dead.
So that was, it was money that was already paid, in like between signing bonuses and like restructure bonuses. So it was money he already had. But this what I'm talking about. If you're talking about what I was talking about in Denver. He told Denver, like, hey, I don't need all the money. Just cut me or trade me.
You know what the killer is, and this is what was killing me. He signed in Denver for what the Chiefs were offering him in Kansas City. That didn't make no sense to me.
Yeah, I didn't hear that, but man,
And
there's like a whole.
And McCole went to the Jets for $2 more million to play 6 plays and then get traded. Are we on the hook for that money?
We're only on the hook for like, I want to say like 700,000. I don't know what the number is, but it's I'm pretty sure it's under a million. I don't remember what it is, but yeah, I think some players just have this mindset of, if the team that drafted me or the team that I have been playing on offers me a same or similar contract as other teams, it's disrespectful because they should know what I'm worth. And so if this other team, offers me something similar, well, then I'm going to go there. And it's kind of like, I disagree with that personally, but even if you agreed with that, I think you still have to look at the flip side of, yeah, but this team just got you a ring and has the greatest player in the NFL on it. So
And that's where,
if the money's even,
I guess that's where my mentality is different because I'm just like, first of all, you're getting paid millions of dollars to play a game. And if you invest your money right and you do your money right, even if you're not making top of the line contract money, you're making millions. You should be able to live and set your family up off of that for the rest of your life. Even if you 2 million a year for 7 years, that's 14 million done right. You can grow that money and your family can survive it after you're gone. But again, if you're a Super Bowl champion, multiple time Super Bowl champion, what is that worth? Like even if you don't get major endorsements, the smaller endorsements, the fact that you'll probably never have to buy a beer or drink in Kansas City ever again. You know what I'm saying? Because businesses are going to take care of you because you showing up there is going to bring more business to them. Like it's all like
Right.
people don't think about the smaller things. They just look at like, oh, I need all the money I can get. The problem is that 75% of NFL players who make all that money go broke within 10 years of them retiring from the league. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, oh, I'm gonna buy these fat chains and this big $6 million mansion that I won't be able to afford when I'm done playing, and yada yada yada. You know, you give me a couple mil, I'm gonna buy a nice little $250,000, $500,000 house in the middle of nowhere, a couple of cars, and I'm gonna bank the rest and invest because I'm be set. Well, I gotta pay property taxes once a year. Okay, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then just
Right.
over. And I'm sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent. I apologize.
No, I mean, I think it's a, I think it's an interesting point you bring up because I mean, it's true. If you're any of this money you're spending on, what to them would be pennies, whatever it is, all these small things on the margins add up. And what you're talking about is one, you're getting taxed for your salary, like you're paying federal income tax, you're paying state income tax, and you go out and you start buying all this stuff, you're also paying, local town tax on it. And so, this is a way where you're not paying, you're saving yourself from another, another group of taxes there. So that money can accumulate interest. It can be invested. Travis and Pat do a great job investing their money. I don't know about any other players on the Chiefs, but I know that Travis and Pat do. Obviously, Pat's investing in like buying, ownership shares of other sporting entities. But Travis, I forget what the name of the show is. It's like it's like athletes investing in different companies, right? And you kind of make your pitch to them. So I've seen Travis on there. I know that he invests in companies and different products and stuff. And so at least those two guys, you know, they're making money outside of being a player on the Chiefs. So, but anyway, Holly asked, "Does anyone know Karloftis vertical and wingspan?" Holly, I would have to look it up really quick here. I think I can probably do it from this. Let's see.
I can give you a guesstimate wider than mine.
All right, so vertical and wingspan. His vertical is 38 inches. Um, can I find out his wingspan? No, I don't see that on here. I'll have to look that up somewhere else. But kind of even like talking about looks like 6'6" and 7/8. That's what I'm seeing here. So
that
78
boy,
and
that
78
boy,
of an inch.
from tips of fingers to tips of fingers with his arm stretched out, Michael Jordan can lay in between his eyes. That's basically what we're saying.
Right. And we knew that we should expect this from him, right? With his right, it was water polo background that he had. So it's kind of one of those eccentric things that a sport. It's not really one of those sports that you think of, to help.
I actually had to look it up when I heard he did it. I was like, is that a real sport? Like I actually had to Google it and like see some highlights. The boys are vicious in the water, but it was pretty interesting.
So But yeah, I mean,
Sorry,
speaking
AJ.
of Karloftis, and we were talking about Frank Clark, but in talking about mentors, like, if I'm like FAU, who am I going to? I'm going to Chris Jones, right? Especially because he has the inside outside versatility. We already talked about the 4.5 sacks he has from the edge this year. Chris Jones has pass rush moves, right? I'm going to GK because I saw his jump from year 1 to year 2, and you can learn secondhand from GK because he's learning from Kamba Hali all off season, and Charles Omenihu, San Francisco's defensive line coach, I don't know his name, but that guy just keeps churning out studs on San Francisco's defensive line. Omenihu came in there, he made him into a stud. Omenihu's been in the NFL what now? 4 years, 5 years? That's somebody's brain that FAU should be picking, right? You have Joe Cullen, who is an NFL vet coach, someone I really respect as the defensive line coach. You can pick your coach's brain, right? There are plenty of guys here that you don't need to bring Frank Clark in to be a disgruntled, uh, quote, mentor, just to teach that spin move and whatever. Because I don't think that you can mentor someone to have that shark in, blood in the water shark mentality, um, kind of that attitude. And I'm not necessarily sure that the Chiefs even really want someone to have Frank's like complete attitude, but I don't know. Can't hear you, Gooch. You're muted.
Thank God for that, because we don't need another two guns on this team. You know what I'm saying?
That's 4 guns, so
Chris Jones also has an elite first step for a big guy. For 6'6", 300-some pounds, that kid, he's got an elite first step, which is awesome. And I was worried that a minute you coming back would take some snaps from FAU, but if it does, that's good. It gives him more chance to kind of work on his craft and kind of get solid. Because I hate to say it, in 2 or 3 years, Jones isn't going to be here, but those guys are going to be young, and worth it. So this is the best defense we've ever had, and I don't think we need to add Frank Clark. Not personally. If we're going to do anything, we need to add another corner. Not that our corners aren't great, but remember, we're down Nazi for the year. So, if anything. And we just let go of our receiver. Oh, we might as well touch on old JR. What do you think about old Justin?
yeah, I wasn't gonna bring that one up because I kind of want to just let everything to get out there. But this is all I'm gonna say until you say something else, and I just have to say something else. This is all I'm gonna say is I am a firm believer in there are 3 sides to every story. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Doesn't mean it's exactly in the middle, but it's somewhere in the middle. And this is a completely complex issue as far as like there's 1,000 dynamics I could talk about here, and I'd probably get hate from everybody because I can hit just about every single dynamic of this thing. So that's all I'm gonna say, unless you say something that I gotta respond to, or I really get pushed into saying anything more.
Well, I'm not gonna push into anything. I'm just gonna say I was gonna say the same thing. There's his side, her side, and the truth. One thing is, it's been knocked down to a misdemeanor with less than $1,000 and yada yada yada. And 2, Andy Reid and the Chiefs are all about second chances. People that are asking for Ross to get cut, all he has to do is be truthful. Because people bring up Kareem Hunt and all this and the other. Kareem's problem is that he lied to Clark Hunt and to Andy Reid. All you've got to do is be honest. I made a mistake, and just let the chips fall where they may. I'm not going to dig into it because that is a lot of personal stuff from a guy that's on a famous team. I just want everybody to get whatever help they need, get it all worked out. put it behind them, and start moving forward doing better. Because everybody can strive to be better every single day than the day they were before. And that's where I'm going to leave that.
Right. And I think that's probably, you know, the big thing is no matter what we're talking about, it kind of depends on, you know, because like I said, there's so many different dynamics to things. But I think one of the biggest one is where you fall in regards to having a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. Like, are you just the way you are? You'll never change type of thing, or can everybody always get better? You know, which is why, especially with like player development, you know, McCool's back. McCool drove me nuts, you know, and it's not because I don't hate McCool Hardman. Like, I am mad at McCool Hardman for McCool Hardman because athletically he has all the talent in the world. Like, all right, not all the talent in the world. He doesn't have Tyreek's talent, but he has a lot of physically. He has a lot of talent, and you know, a lot of similar tools. And it's like I believe you can take the same path that Tyreek Hill took, right? I believe that of basically any receiver on our roster that if they put the work in, you know, physical work, mental work, you know, they practice, they all can take that same ascendancy up to being a top wide receiver. You know, that's talking sports and physical things, but you know, even like mentally and emotionally. Listen, I know it from my own life, I know it from my own fandom. I'm not the same person I was even a year ago or 2 years ago, 5 years ago. Like, you know, 15, 20 years ago, you know, I'd like to go back in time and, you know, whoop my own butt, you know, like kind of shake myself, slap myself in the face, whatever. You know, like if you're the same person now that you were when you were a teenager or when you were 20, 25, like you're either really immature or you're not really self-aware if that's what you think because we're all changing always. It's whether we're growing or whether like we're kind of sliding back or going sideways or whatever. So now that we're off on a big tangent here,
Well, 25 for me was just yesterday, so I still got a lot of growing to do and stuff like that. But I like to think I'm mature.
yeah, I think you forgot to like double that or something.
That's not funny. All right, where else are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? Let's get off of this.
Holly says life lessons. Yeah, well, we have about 30 minutes here and we haven't really talked about Chiefs Chargers yet and we haven't really talked about Chiefs and Broncos round 2. So, which one do you want to tackle?
Chiefs Chargers should be quick. It was a great first half by the Chiefs. Great second half by the Chiefs defense. Problem I have, and I was watching somebody else's podcast, and I kind of agree similarly. I think that we give Andy way too much grief for taking the foot off the gas when they're ahead. Because another player was doing a podcast, and I wish I could shout him out because I can't remember where I heard it, but they said, I think the coaches have a pact that if you're winning, like you don't try to embarrass the other team. You know what I'm saying? You just kind of get to the end and get it over with. And that would explain, well, Andy's old school, and that would explain a lot. Like, obviously, Mike McDaniel dropped 70 on the Broncos. But, I mean, you know, the old school coaches, if you notice with all of them, except for the year that Belichick and Brady went on that FU tour and they were outscoring everybody by 30, nobody's really, like, you hear all the time, like, the game was 35-28, but it didn't feel that close. You know what I'm saying? The defense is playing great. The offense played great for the first half. I like Rasheed coming more and more into his own, especially in an Andy Reid offense. That's cool. Um, I like that we started to see Sky and MVS get more involved. Um, Darius Toney even had a couple catches, which is cool. I like the game. I think the biggest thing as a fan, and I've seen the Tyler Thigpens and the Brody Croyles and all of that. Like the game in halftime, I wasn't worried that the Chargers were gonna come back. Like I was just like, oh, this game's over. You know what I'm saying? What else is on TV? I had Red Zone, so I still followed it. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm still, watching. But it was a decent game, and I even bounced to the Broncos. This should be even easier because that Jackson kid is out because he was targeting again. And I won't say that because Russell is playing decently, and that running back. Oh man, I had his name just earlier today. The running back that just came back. That guy's a tank, and he gets ahead of steam. It could be a little difficult for us, but I still see us winning. Like I really think we're 3.5 games up on the Raiders, who are in second place. If they all lose, this division could be ours by Thanksgiving. Then what?
Yeah.
Somebody asked me for my Chiefs record prediction, and I'm thinking 13-4. I just wanted to throw all that out there one time because once I let Keys go, it'll be 8:45.
Yeah, I think beside Mike McDaniel, I think of like the Bills as a team that had no problem like trying to score as many points as they could, and even son of old school coach and Kyle Shanahan would get up and get a lot of points. Of course, then he would let the other team come back and win. So but yeah, I don't know because there are some moments that it's not necessarily Andy taking his foot off the gas. It's like the offense, like just, being out of sync, or, you get a key penalty thrown, or, you have a drop or something like that where it's a matter of execution on here. But, I think it's kind of an interesting topic to talk about, right? Because, speaking of like keeping your foot on the gas, like the reality is like, I've been playing Madden for 30 years or so. And I won't speak this for everybody else, but at least in my experience, I've had to like challenge all these misbeliefs I had because of Madden. And one of those beliefs, Gooch, was that, teams, head coaches, offensive coordinators, whatever, go into every single game with every single one of their plays at disposal because that's what happens in Madden, right? You have the whole playbook there and you get to call anything from it. But that's not what happens every week. Teams don't have every play in their playbook. They only have a certain number of plays, right? And like their call sheet is broken up by situations, what part of the game it is, what part of the field it is, what the down and distance is. And they have their selection of plays that they want to do. And it's usually only a handful of plays, right? So, again, it's not like Madden where you're just like, oh, yeah, here's 89 plays. Let's go through. Oh, yeah, I really like this one. It's more of these are the plays that that they've installed for the week, part of the game plan. The game plan determines what plays that they have available for that week. And so it's, maybe they add, a couple of plays at halftime based on what the defense has shown them. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like they only have so many options in a game because they don't have the whole playbook at their disposal every week. So in that way, stuff happens. Defensive coordinators have done such a great job of switching it up from their own norm. Like against us, defenses will play us different than they play every other team on their schedule up until that point. And so that, that kind of throws you for a loop. And people will look, oh, well, it's throwing Mahomes for a loop. Well, no, Andy and Matt were expecting to see, the defense to throw this and this and this. So they had the plays geared towards this and this and this. And then the defensive coordinator just completely went the opposite that week. And now, say you got all these man beater plays and they're throwing out 60% zone where they were a 60% man team up until this game type of thing.
Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl.
So, but yeah, McKinnon was the only, I can throw this up here. McKinnon was the only third down running back in the game. He got every third down snap in the game here. I don't know how well you guys can see this, but the gold is what it looks like. Gold is third downs. So, you can look, there's Clyde, green, purple, green, green, green. Green is first down. So Clyde was getting some first downs and, a few third down or second down looks, but it's McKinnon all the way here in the gold. He was the third down back, the only third down back in this game. We still had a lot of Pacheco here. You can look at the receivers here. We had a lot of MVS. We had a lot of Rice. We had a good deal of Sky Moore. McCool Hardman got in there for, about a dozen plays or so. Take from that whatever you will. But, that was the offense. Gooch said the first half. I thought the first half plus like sometime in the fourth quarter, right? Like sometime in the fourth quarter, the offense seemed like it came back to life, at least as I'm recalling it. What in the world? Go back to work.
Don't go back to work. He needs some time off. Don't listen to him. Everybody needs some relaxing time. I'm just surprised you're here with us when you hear his voice every single day.
Right. You're the one who doesn't even like your own voice. So.
I do not. I hate my voice. Like everybody else says, "Oh, it's an issue voice. It sounds good," and I'm like, "You don't hear me? Like I hear myself all the time. I hate it."
I think that was supposed to be stud with one S on there. But anyway, yeah. So Mahomes. I don't.
I mean, there's two of us on here. I'm just saying.
Gooch just put that back on there. I got to figure out how to take away any of the control of this. But Gooch, I don't know if you were hearing when I was doing the by the numbers, but Mahomes had 3 straight weeks now with over 75% completion percentage, and first quarterback in NFL history to do that with at least 40 pass attempts. Also the first quarterback to do that with at least 30 completions.
Yeah, I saw that. You know what that means?
He was throwing to Travis a lot.
The kid's getting better and it's getting scary. Yeah, he threw to Travis 12 times, but you got to figure that's 18 other passes that didn't go to Travis.
Right.
And I mean, if he's getting that good, if he's getting that going to be that consistent, I mean, I think Orlovsky showed it on one of his things. Like his footwork was on point that game. His transition from his first read to his second read to his third read was quick. Like he's going to be like that. He's going to make these guys a lot better, and these guys are going to. It's one thing we always talk about. Like one thing we're worried about is them figuring it out, and they're getting into the bye. Like is it the Denver game and then they got the bye, or do they have a game after that and then the bye?
Is the Miami game after that? I don't know. I have to look at the schedule.
It is. They've got Denver this week, and they go to Germany for Miami, and then they have the bye. So if they go into the bye 8-1 or 7-2, still figuring out the offense, but getting better. What do you think it's going to look like after the bye?
Right.
I mean, it's like it's like the Eagles. The Eagles have been kind of struggling, trying to figure out what they were doing, and all of a sudden, it looks like they remembered who they were, found out who they were, and they handled the Dolphins too. The Dolphins, though, I think the Dolphins are fugazi. I think they're a great track team in Miami. Their defense is suspect. And if you run into a team like the Eagles, like the Chiefs, who can drive it up and down the field on you, I don't think you can score enough points to keep up, even with as talented as they are. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just, I think they're going to get into the playoffs. I just don't think they're built to win when it's cold and when it counts. And man, oh man, if the Patriots beat them, I will give up all I know about football because I just don't know what to do then.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, if you get a chance, Dan talks football. He has a pick thing out. He picks the scores. He has a really good channel. Check him out. He always shouts us out in every single thing that he does. We want to make sure we shout him out. Dan talks football. I think he does some betting and stuff like that. He usually over unders and scores and stuff. Really good channel. Check him out.
Yeah, and Dan's channel as well as Big Chief Shawn's and Chief Concerns, and I think maybe another one is actually in the description is kind of our guys for you guys to check out. So if you didn't get what Gooch said there, you can see that in the description as well. And so, yeah.
Also, ladies, Holly, Mrs. Keys, hey, how you doing? Kingdom Queens is a really good one. It's three ladies talking about Chiefs football. I check them out from time to time. And Thunder Dan also is pretty good. And that's right. See? Scheduling this. That's it.
All right, let's see. Holly, can we get someone blocked?
All right now.
Put user in timeout. Oh, whoa, what? I wasn't. Oops.
Oh, snap.
It says she was banned. Uh-oh. I'm in trouble. Someone who knows how to.
You better unban her.
I don't know how to undo that. Gooch, do you know when Kingdom Queens is on?
Man, no, because I used to usually get a notification, but I'm pretty sure they're on Fridays. But they're a really good channel. Right, Holly? Like, right? Holly, do you know how to you're a mod. Do you know how to unban them? I can't believe he banned her. Oh, he's sleeping on the couch. And she actually liked me. How bad is that? Oh no.
Oh, man. All right, I gotta figure this one out. But if all else fails, I just bought a nice big comfy couch. So, I always have that to fall back on or lay on or whatever. But so defense, Gooch. What were your thoughts on Chiefs Chargers? Or sorry, yeah, Chiefs Chargers. Oh, after 5 minutes, we'll see. All right. Not sure where Gooch went, but hey, listen, I already said Charles Omenihu is who I was expecting him to be. But I'm really excited to see that defensive line continue on. But yeah, and I don't know about you, Gooch, but my thought kind of is like, I want Nick Bolton to get healthy, but in a way, I think this is going to be helpful to Drew Tranquil, the rest of the linebacking crew, even like the safeties, however Spags has to adapt, anything that they have to do, while Nick Bolton is gone, it's just going to leave them with more flexibility in the future. And, having guys in different situations now will pay off, at the end of the season and especially in the playoffs. It's going to give Spags way more flexibility. You love to see McCole Hardman come back and have that punt return. I don't know if you saw the video of Travis going up to him after that and like talking him up, hyping him up after that, which was really cool to see. Speaking of cool and speaking of Travis, I don't know if did you guys all see the video of there was a rookie defensive lineman, right? For the Chargers who came up to Travis after the game and asked Travis, hey, do you have any advice for a rookie? And Travis, he laid it out there for him. Like, really cool moment, even to the point that this was on Twitter, and like even Chargers players were like, or Chargers fans, not players, but Chargers fans were like, I hate that I like him, talking about Travis because, how cool he is and how he took that time out. But yeah. Gooch, are you back with us here? You wanna hit Denver rematch preview?
I already threw mine out there. It's all on you now.
If the Chiefs get off the airplane, is that what you said?
Well, the problem is that Denver won, so there's a lot of confidence now. Even though it's a barely win, they won. And Denver's always tough to play in, even though Mahomes has never lost there. So it'll be interesting. I still think they win. I think it's going to be close. I'm thinking 35-28. Because the Sean Payton has never been shut out. In this game, they got 8. I think he's going to do whatever's possible to try and get more than that. Actually, you know what? He's not. I'm still thinking 35-17. And for the record, he blocked you, not me. That guy blocked you, and I read up on it. That's where I went because I went to go look, and it says that on StreamYard, if you're blocked, you can't come back for this live, but you can come back for all the other ones. Now, if he blocked you on YouTube, you actually have to go into Google under the My Account block list, and he has to remove it. I don't know if that's under ours because I'm connected to my own, and I'll go take a look later, and so will he. Oh, there she is. Hey, baby. Hey. Hey, he did it. You can always come on here anytime you want to. Unappreciative, I swear. And you gave him all those kids. I just don't know what to do with him. He already knows he has to sleep on the couch. We have already had that discussion.
It's a nice, big, comfy couch. So, but
try doing it without blankets and a pillow. That's what's going.
Yeah, she's repeating herself now.
Oh, because I told her to stay in the truck last time, but it wasn't me that blocked you this time. Like, I don't do it.
It was an accident. Anyway. I was just messing around and I clicked the 3 dots and put user and timeout.
This is why
I didn't even click ban user and delete their comments, so I don't know what happened there. Obviously didn't ban her.
I tell everybody that they're the smart ones and I'm the talent because I'm just like, I don't fool around with that stuff. So anything that y'all see from the intro to the outro to any of the other stuff, the keys is by the numbers, all that's them. I'm just here to talk. You know what I'm saying? Talk and look pretty, which I do now because I got most of those gray hairs out my goatee, and I had a little haircut. You know, I mean, mostly because I gotta go to North Carolina, but I still look better like that. You know. And for those of you who don't know, or do know, or even care, I've been seeing a trainer for the last 4 months. I am down 54 pounds.
Hey, that's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? So that's good. I feel better. You know, obviously, I'm never going to try and preach and say everybody should do that. But for me, overall, with my family and stuff, I just feel great. So,
Hey,
work in progress, I am.
I noticed in your face when I was editing your videos, but I thought, maybe it was just the angle or something there, or like the gray hairs, like making you look, because white can do that a little bit. So
Right, right. You know what I'm saying? But and I'm losing it all, man. Like I didn't see it, but other people have seen it, and so I'm just like all I know is how I feel, and it's
right,
amazing. And I don't want to go on a sports channel on a tangent like this, but it's amazing how the little things that you take for granted, like being able to bend over and tie your shoes. You know what I'm saying? Or bending over and picking something up off the ground. Like little things that is everyday life that you all of a sudden notice, oh snap, I'm doing that regularly again. You know what I'm saying? Like without struggling and stuff like that. So anyway, sorry about that. I went off on a different end. Um, back to the Chiefs.
hey, no, I mean, listen, I don't think there's any reason to apologize for that, because at least in my mind, this channel has to necessarily be just as much about life in general as it is about Chiefs and football, because of the intersection of all of it. I mean,
Well, I tell you
so
what, and I don't want to go on a faith-based rant. For those that don't believe, stop listening. But God gave me a wake-up call about 4 weeks ago. It's probably right after I started. I was doing the whole workout thing, but I was still eating crappy, like, and doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing. And I had a little health episode that required my doctor to leave her office and come to where I was to take care of me in my car. Like my eyesight was going in and out, my blood pressure was. By the time she got there, 30 minutes later, it was like 225 over 130. Like it was just, and so then it just kind of one of those focus in. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I am 5 weeks without soda since then. Mostly water now and all that kind of stuff, and eating better. So, you know, a lot of people make that comment like we're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time. Not me. I want to be here a long time. I'm way too pretty for this to end real suddenly. And, somebody up there likes me well enough that I'm able to tell y'all this. Blood came back. My cholesterol was low, like super low, which it shouldn't have been, but it was. All my other stuff came back. It was just the blood pressure, blood sugar, so I had to change my diet. Um, yeah. Thanks for listening. Appreciate y'all. Anyway, Chiefs, question: how did the Chiefs offense adjust this time around? I don't think. I think they maintain. I think if they do any adjustments, it'll be to get the run game going some more. Because yes, the pass was working, but you're gonna need that run game. You need to start. I mean, we still use it. Pacheco's running well, yeah, but you still need to establish the run. I think he ended with what 40 yards after last game. Like it's enough to make them honest, but not enough for them to fear it. The only problem is that Staley's defense gives up 26 points a game for some god awful reason, and we got away with it. We won't get away with it if we face Cleveland or um, the Jets again, because the way the Jets are playing defense, it's going to be crazy. But who knows? Chiefs win. I'm guessing about 14. I think they're 8-point favorites. I'm going to say they put it away by 2 touchdowns. The only fear I have is that they start looking forward to that Miami, Germany, and they don't focus on this game. I think that's the way that they can lose. I just don't think they will.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way they're not focused for this game, simply because they know the streak. It's a divisional opponent, and you don't want to lose one of the, you don't want to lose a divisional game first off, for sure. But, like I kind of already said earlier, um, you know, Vance Joseph, like other defensive coordinators, right? Um, I think he was one of those guys that kind of went against what he had been doing for this game. And you can't pull that card twice, right? Like, what's he going to do this time when that was his card in the first game? So I think you're kind of more prepared, for maybe both. Like, you're going to take a route, at least I would expect, where they're more prepared. But, as you've talked about many times before as well, Gooch, Mahomes has that eidetic memory. I believe that's the word. Where
Yeah.
he remembers everything. He's got a great visual memory. He remembers, basically every play, whatever. And so I think I'm expecting they'll be ready for it. I think you also, you have McCole Hardman in the building now for a whole week to where he can actually be into your game plan. Um, Especially if they really have kind of dumbed it down for all the younger guys they have, then McColl should definitely be fine in that it shouldn't be anything new or have advanced, you know what I mean? Past his time here. So yeah, I just think that you take that, Travis seems to be getting healthier and healthier every week. The production is going up so insane. Like, I don't know how, if you're Denver, you don't just smother Travis in this game and really force, Rashee Rice, MVS, McCole Hardman, Noah Gray, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney to beat you. And I think Kansas City should come in expecting that. And I think they should be ready for it. And I think they should just be like, you know, hopefully the players each are individually ready so that when that happens, they can be like, hey, screw you. Now we have, 10 different ways. You have no idea what the hell's coming your way. You know, I also think though, if you win the coin toss, you take the ball. I think you have to take the ball. I think as much as possible of making Denver play from behind to where you're taking the running game out of it. I think it only benefits you more. You don't want Denver to get the lead to where, then you're playing from behind to where they can keep running all they want. They can blitz all they want. And so, I know it's not the usual, but I think for this game with a healthy Denver running game, I think you kind of should look at that strategy, even though this is asking about the Chiefs offense. Um, yeah, I think you incorporate McColl. Um, you keep feeding it to Rice, and everybody else has got to step up a little bit. And maybe don't give Blake Bell and CEH snaps. Kind of my thought.
Did you know that Justin Watson practiced today, Philly?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is why I'm not an NFL coach. Because, and I'm going to take a couple of things that you said, because you're like, oh, the game plan, the playbook. I would be the coach that I would pick stuff from every single part of the playbook and be like, all right, let's run this. Go on out there and do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't even care. Because I was guys like, I believe my guys are better than your guys, and I'm going to show it by throwing you a play from the back page of my playbook that we practiced forever. Um, yeah. And then I would roll out in Denver with my petty self because I always hear about how everybody knows it's going to Kelsey. You should smother Kelsey. I'd roll out the first 15 and not have Kelsey step on the field. And then I'd just run it down their throats or pass it down their throats and then get up 14-0 like, all right, now here comes Kelsey. You know what I'm saying? But that's me because I'm a jerk. And I would do it just to see look on their face. You know? And the fans' face, because Tennessee fans would throw up for it. But I would get a kick out of it. It would just tickle me all the way down to the tips of my toes. Just to throw everybody off. Kelsey's active, but he's not playing. Here's Rasheed Rice. Here's Pacheco. Can we please trade CEH by Tuesday? I mean, he's just taking up a roster spot. And the Titans are sellers. Go get DeAndre now if you really, really want to receive.
Right. Yeah. Would you? I kind of threw this out on Twitter. I think the RGR chat the other night, kind of joking, but would you throw an offer at the Titans for D Hop and Derrick Henry? Like try to take a shot at both?
A lot of people who are Chiefs fans are going to hate this, but I'd take Henry and then I'd see what Denver wanted for Jerry Jeudy. Not because he's an Alabama boy at all. Take that out of it. Because one, he's cheap. Two, he's young, and I don't think he's getting the looks and the talent that he obviously has. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to trade Cortland Sutton. You're not going to trade Surtain, and you're not going to let go of Simmons unless he asks for too much money. You know what I'm saying? So if they're really selling, yeah, no D-Hop. D-Hop didn't know. He's got great hands, but if Hollywood Brown or Jerry Jeudy, and Jerry Judy's cheaper, that's where I'd go. And I'd just get Henry, not even to really run him, maybe sporadically, maybe for, the one thing that Keys absolutely hates from our offense, which is third and fourth and short. Let Derrick Henry come in and get 1 or 2 yards and a guaranteed first down. I'd do it, and he'd be on a contender. You know what I'm saying? For a Hall of Fame running back, which he's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would have to. I think you have two plays, right? If you got Derrick Henry and you had third and fourth and short, I think you have two plays in your playbook. Hand the ball off to him or play action pass, right? And you alternate enough to where the defensive line has to hesitate just a little bit because you can stop Derrick Henry if you stop him before he hits the line of scrimmage. But if you get aggressive like that and then you have a play action, you're screwed. Like, to where you pull that play out enough, then it's going to slow down everybody reacting to Derrick Henry to where he can pick that up easily. It's kind of my thought. You're just two plays.
It's 4 plays. Hand the ball left, hand the ball right, hand the ball in the middle, and then play action pass.
So Holly and Hannah congratulated you. Holly said she felt like it might be a close game, like 7 to 10-ish point difference. And she said that she would take Henry, but she's not interested in D-Hop. I'm still intrigued by the idea of a jump ball receiver. And I understand that Kansas City hasn't really made it a part of their game. I still disagree with that philosophy, though, as teams have taken away the vertical passing game. I think they need to do the other vertical passing game and having a receiver who can do that. I mean, when you think
Ross, they just won't use him. Justin Ross is 6'4".
But apparently he can only do like 2 or 3 routes, whether, that's like the physical, like the lack of agility he has where he can run other routes, like whatever the case. But yeah, that was my thought with him. But it seems like not just because he's not a rookie, but not just because he's young, but because physically there are routes that I believe the report was that he needs to work on. I think that's what it was. There was kind of like, a leak that came out after the arrest. Just like there was kind of a leak a few days ago by like James Palmer, I think, about Sky Moore underwhelming the Chiefs. I think that came out. I can't remember if it was before or after the Hardman trade.
Hmm.
Right.
See, I read something that said that there was people are of the opinion that the Hardman trade was putting Sky Moore on notice, but then they really think that the person that could affect is Kadarius Toney, because Kadarius Toney was only on the field for 19% of the snaps against the Chargers game. And I don't like either option. Like Hardman, okay, welcome back, that's great. But I remember watching you not running out your routes on passes that you could have caught if you would have ran them out and stuff like that. Like I don't. Rasheed Rice is the number one in my opinion. I mean, after Kelsey, because the kid he's like a bigger Pacheco. He runs like he's angry at the ground, and just to dig it in my partner's craw, that toe injury that he healed from, he looks a lot faster and more explosive than he did his last year at SMU, Mr. Keas.
Hey, what does that have to do with me?
Because you didn't like the pick, because you didn't like he don't get no separation, and he doesn't look fast.
No, I didn't say that.
Seriously.
No, I didn't say that. I even it was Brett Coleman like really dogged him as a prospect leading up to the draft because of that. And I like Brett, but I even risked getting blocked by Brett by quote tweeting him. I don't remember what the tweet was, but so no, I never dogged Rasheed Rice because of his toe. It wasn't me.
That must have been Dan.
I'm pretty sure it was only all the famous guys out there, all the big guys that didn't bother to look.
One of the things though, he ran a 4.5 40 at the combine. He did that with a toe injury.
Yeah.
Think about that. Running on that foot, but he looks good. He looks fast.
No, I was pulling up like the Ross score comparisons, and it was like Juju. I forget who the other one was, but like he was really similar to Juju, and if that was with the toe injury, I mean that tells you to me, that kind of tells you maybe what his floor is.
I just wanted to throw something out while we're talking Chiefs, and it's almost we're overtime.
Yeah,
I was just sitting around and I was thinking, I want y'all to sit back and think about this. You see how big a football field is, right? Like it looks huge, right? But from end zone to end zone, it's a city block, 360 feet. That's all it is, from the back of the end zone to the back of the end zone. Isn't that crazy? The stadiums make those fields look so huge, right. And you can really walk the length of the football field just walking the block. It's crazy, right?
You know what, though? Not just the stadiums, though, but if you ever got out there and ran it, at least for me, as a chubby kid in high school, it felt as long as the stadium makes it look big. Like that's when you're running 100 yards, like when you're doing ladders or something, it feels huge.
Yeah, I played, and I know how big it can feel, even on a high school field. And you're doing that. It's crazy. But hey, check this out. If you don't like us for our sports commentary and stuff like that, you learned something today. How about that?
All right, everyone. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to BAK Talk with Gooch and Keas. And Gooch, I'm going to go ahead and let you pay the bills. I'm glad I didn't have to put my wife in timeout again, but I'll. You might send me a text to check in on me tonight or tomorrow morning. Make sure.
No stuff. I like to point out that we don't normally ban those that follow us and watch us, but that was Keys on accident. Anyway, we appreciate all y'all that come to watch us, whether religiously or in passing. Those that came to hang out, we appreciate you joining us, participating in the chat. Keep doing that. We are glad to be back. I am glad to be back. It's been a while. We've all been busy, but as things start to settle, hopefully we'll be able to get Aaron in here. Make sure you tell somebody you love them, be kind to your neighbors, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right. Thank you guys. We're gonna hit that outro music,
Hit
and
that theme music.
we will see you guys next well, Gooch, you'll be here Tuesday. You'll have a premiere for us. Are you gonna do another, are you doing something else as well, or are you sticking with just
No, I'm gonna do something else. I just need to get it worked up how I want it done. So you're probably gonna see a lot of us Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Don't worry, we're back for
all
real.
right. Well, be on the lookout for something else coming from Gooch, but you will always be getting his Tuesday nights. You'll be getting the Talents Top 10, where he gives you his, I guess, like his power ranking each week, and whatever time those are. But Tuesday nights for that, and we'll be here on Wednesdays 7:30 to trying to make it 9 o'clock, because we know there are other streams out there, including Thunder Dan 88. So go ahead and check them out. Go ahead and check out any of the other that we have in the description here for this video. We want to thank you guys again. So
You got your team, and we got a kingdom. Ready for war, we score at will. We're the Super Bowl champs, the king of the hill.